Hey everybody, welcome to the Hunter Burton Memorial Open. I'm here with Aaron, the Director of Charity Operations, who, you kind of put on this tournament a lot of the times, and you're doing a lot of the hard work here. Why don't you tell a little bit of the people at home what you do and what this really is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first and foremost, we are about suicide awareness and prevention in the gaming community. We use Magic the Gathering and other card games that are out there to really kind of spread awareness through the gaming community about at risk people, making sure that they have lifelines and resources in front of them in case they struggle themselves or know somebody who is, and really using kind of the avenue of gaming in general to bring people together and show them that kindness and inclusion can save lives.
Yeah, absolutely, just a great cause. Now, this is the 10th year this is going on, 10th anniversary. A lot of, history here as well. I know you've got a ton of stuff that's going on for the first time here this weekend, and there's stuff that we're bringing back as well. Why don't you tell people at home a little more about that stuff?
Yeah, so the first part is we have our memorial events that we do for Ian Jashaway and Jeff Zandy. Those are fan favorite events. For us, that's a big piece of remembering the people that helped bring this tournament to bear. Both of them were friends with Hunter. There were four of us that started this event years ago. Two of them, unfortunately, have passed for other reasons, not suicide, thankfully, in that regard. But for us, it's important to remember their contribution to this cause, the gaming community, and how important they were to a lot of people in this community. So we have our memorial events, the Ian Jashaway sealed event, which is what we call a high roller event. He loved to play for cash prizes, so we offer that with a high entry fee and a high cash prize. And then we have the Jeff Zandy. Jeff Zandy was so eccentric in how much he loved Magic, and he loved to do crazy different things. So we did a chaos sealed event that we give packs from all the history of Magic that you can possibly open and build a deck from and have a great time. It's a super fun event. It's very casual in that atmosphere, so that way we really cater to who their personalities were. We also do all kinds of other types of events here, from the kind of casual sit and go, Commander, which is so popular in a lot of casual form, and of course we have our modern event, which is always kind of a high cash prize event, which is where we started years ago, a decade ago to be exact. And on top of that, we have silent auctions that benefit the foundation. We have our cool prize wall that has all kinds of stuff, not just in a normal like Magic event that you might know, but in this case we have donations from companies that aren't into the gaming community, but they donate really cool stuff to do here at our event. And it's an awesome option for people to really kind of participate in what we do here, whether you're into Magic and play Magic the Gathering all year long, whether you want to just come out and maybe play Magic for the first time all year but you want to support the cause, or maybe some of the other games like Flesh and Blood and Lorcana and board games that we have here as well. We have something for everybody.
Well, speaking of the cool stuff that you've got here this week, and I remember when these first started, I remember hearing about this a lot. I'm like local-ish to you guys. We got the watches. Hunter was a big watch collector himself, and those have kind of become a big deal here this weekend. What's up with the watches?
Yeah, so the watches, that's been a big piece of what we do. In fact, I'm wearing the first watch right here. For me, I'm a big watch collector. Hunter Burton was a big watch collector. He loved these big, eccentric, kind of gaudy watches. He would wear them when he'd play Magic.
I remember.
In our painting portrait that we have, it's kind of a standout piece. So for us, every year we award a watch. Now, when we started, we awarded it to the winner of the event. So they got the cash prize and this really expensive timepiece. As the event has gone on, we wanted to use the watch as an impactful piece of the cause. And so what we adapted that to is now we award the watch at the beginning of our event to a Community Impact Award winner. And that is somebody who has made a difference in the community, not just in gaming. It can be in any community, specifically targeted to kindness, inclusion, suicide awareness, somebody that people have voted on and actually nominated for that award. And we award the watch to them as a, hey, this is from us to you as a thank you for what you've done for community awareness or bringing people together.
Yeah, just awesome stuff here this whole weekend. Now, I know that a lot of the people that are going to be participating here this weekend also get the dice. I've got a friend, he's got at least one die from every single one of these, and that's all every year he's like, I just want the dice, I just want the dice. Well, where did that kind of come from? What's the story there?
Yeah, the dice is actually Jeff Zandy's doing. That was something he started with in 2014. He wanted to make it a custom thing. When we originally started that, we would do one for each year that Hunter had been alive and what his birthday would be. So there was one more each year. He would award one to the top 8 of the main event. There would be one given to friends and kind of some staff and family, but they were extremely limited. And actually the first runs of those dice, I've seen them sell for hundreds of dollars for people to complete those dice. We actually have the entire set here displayed today. Somebody who has been to every event for the entire decade has one of every dice in their case, one of every marketing poker chip and things of that nature. Now we do make more of those than Hunter's birth years. So for us, we give it to all of our staff. They get one. The top 8 still get one. But honestly, it is just an extremely important piece to remember what this event meant to Jeff Zandy and to keep that legacy going.
And I think y'all have done a really good job of keeping that legacy going. Like I said, we're in the 10th year here. Utterly amazing stuff that y'all are doing here. Great cause. Thanks for taking some time out this weekend and telling us more about what's going on. And thanks for doing just amazing work with the community.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that watches at home, everybody that comes out to this event. It means the world to us that people are willing to come support this cause. And honestly, we like to set the precedent. This event is not like any other Magic tournament or gaming event you'll attend. We like this to be an inviting atmosphere for everybody. So if you haven't been to one of our events, I hope that they'll get the chance to come out next year.
I gotta say, I think that's the thing that stands out the most this weekend is just the atmosphere. All the players here, great moods. Everybody's smiling, having a ton of time. You see people hugging a lot because they might not see each other except for at this every year. So even if I'm not working one of these, I'm going to make sure I come out to these from now on. So great job, and thanks for being with us this weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I had no clue that's where it was going.
Welcome back. We are going to get started on round 5 here at the Hunter Burton in just a moment. I'm back with Tan and Grace, and we have a special guest here who's going to give you a breakdown on everything else going on the floor.
Yeah, so for those you don't know, I'm Power Dragon, Daquan. You'll probably seen me on previous year's coverage, but if not, I'm here now. Just kind of want to let y'all know there's a bunch of other things going on at the event. A ton of stuff, actually. We actually have Lorcana, I think, just got started upstairs, so I need to check how many people they have. But surprisingly, today for competitive EDH, we have 40 players. Like, that's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Nice even 10 pods.
Yep, it worked awesomely. They're working, I think they're in round 3 now, so that's going on. We had a pretty good modern, I guess we're calling the RCQ, PTQs. I don't know what they are anymore.
I think this is RCQ.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
RCQs.
Just a cube.
Yeah, it's some type of qualifier, right?
Some qualifier, yeah.
Those had 34 people playing in that, so that was pretty good for a side event. But the thing I really want to note is that we have a Legacy 2K going on as well that had 78 players.
Yeah, I talked to multiple people who they came here just for that.
Yeah, for sure. And people drove a good distance just to come play Legacy this weekend. So, yeah, we kind of turned this whole Hunter Burton thing into almost just a Magic convention for the weekend. Like,
Definitely a destination type thing now, not just a modern tournament.
yeah, people are really making the trip. I mean, dedicating the whole weekend, coming prepared to just play like their preferred format. And the cool part is, whatever format you play, there's like 2 or 3 events this weekend, so you can get your fill. Even if you scrub out, there's going to be something else probably happening in the next like 3-4 hours. So this is pretty cool stuff. It's just one of those things that it's cool to see people turn out for this type of thing, but all these side events are really popping off too. So it's been really good stuff. We're actually going to even be doing a creator clash where people get to play mini masters against some of the creators that are here. So that'll be fun too. So I haven't played mini masters in ages. So that's kind of a good throwback event that we haven't done in so long.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to kind of give people updates to the weekend. So maybe popping in and out throughout the day and let you know if as we get some winners in some of these things or what decks are finishing well. And I'm going to try to keep tabs on that for everybody. So hopefully people are interested. So they don't have to bug you on streams about like, what's happening? Who's winning? How's this player doing? I'm going to try to get our players to watch as well and trying to keep people updated because it'll make y'all's life easier.
Have you seen a favorite deck walking through the room so far?
Not quite yet. I'm going to try to take some time this round and really kind of like sit in on a couple of matches because there's a lot of rogue stuff running around the room.
There really is.
There's a whole variety. And I think some of it is people taking chances because, the bannings and, trying to get under the radar before people catch up on stuff. But then there's also some people, I saw quite a few Rhinos still in the room. Like people said, ban a card, F it. I don't care. This is what I got. I'll cut full and replace them. People are dedicating to it. So it's going to be a wild day, man. I don't know how things are going to shake out yet.
Awesome. Well, Daquan, thanks so much. It sounds like we're ready to get into the action. It sounds like you're ready to go get into some more action out there as well. So
We
have
missed you
fun.
over here, but
I'm very jealous. Bye.
take care.
All right, so it looks like in this round we're gonna have Chris Patton on Izzet Murktide versus. Do you know how to pronounce his last name? I'm gonna butcher this. Rashaz. That sounds good on
Rashaz.
All right, so JP on Dimir Mill, a deck that's usually on the fringe of modern, but every now and then it just pops up and does really, really well.
That's a David Palmer pet deck for sure.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
You're a Mill player?
Like Mill. I don't know why.
How are we friends?
No, we're friends. I like all the things you hate.
It's so funny too because I was known as a Tron player for a while. This is my nightmare. It's like Infect and Mill. This is my actual nightmare. But looks like we've got one of the strongest starts in modern. That's a turn 1 Ragavan, and that is connecting here for Chris Patton. So tons of mana here on turn 1. I'm sorry, turn 2 for him.
Yeah, JP without either of his crabs.
Well, the jig is up immediately. That's a mind break trap on the top. I think you saw the Ushka look from Chris there. He's like, oh.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I cannot get in that.
Dimir, you always want to start with one of your crabs. It's the most important card in the deck. It's a lot harder to mill somebody out without getting 12 off of a crab early in the game. This is not a great matchup for Mill. They can put too much pressure on you too quick, and they can interact.
They have Spell Pierce, right? Like, that's a nightmare because when the deck has an aggressive tint, like as it does, you're kind of incentivized to just play your spells when you have time. Yeah, you have to go for it. And then you're going to have to run into spell pierce a lot. Not to mention Ragavan starting this early with this much extra mana on Chris's side is going to be huge. And Dimir Mill looks like he's going to go ahead and use one of the Surveil lands here to get a little bit of value going into the next turn. Another deck utilizing these awesome lands.
We've seen the Surveil lands all over this weekend.
Yeah, it's great design, huge. The fact that you can fetch for them is just so awesome.
Big deal. Most players are playing 1, maybe 2. You don't want to have too many things that come into play tapped, but the ability when your hand's not perfect or if you're looking for a third land, it's a big deal.
Yeah, we mentioned this earlier on. The utility of them has been awesome too. I've seen so many creative plays with them that I hadn't even thought of yet to get extra value.
The Ragavan trick is one that he could have done there.
Yeah, we could have had it happen here in this game for sure.
Didn't need it because it was an archive trap anyway.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If I'm the Mill player, you hit me with it, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you can have whatever you want. There's nothing bad here for me. Like, there's no like, oh, you're gonna hit, a Thoughtseize or something here. Yeah.
Drown the Lock's probably the only one.
Yeah, but it's only for this turn. They're like, what's he gonna drown the lock here? Like so. Yeah,
We gotta pause here for something. Judge checking on something, I guess. Again, more smiles from all the players. This is I would say the happiest Magic event that you can go to.
I don't know if the people could see it on our feed. We could see the camera of us here. Over my shoulder here, I've got some longtime Texas guild mages here battling it out in some casual Magic. And some of these guys, I've known for like well over a decade. I only see them when I come to Dallas and stuff, and it's like I never left.
Yeah.
Just absolutely love the camaraderie that's here this week and the vibes that are going back and forth between everyone. Easily one of the best tournaments I've ever been to. It sounds like we're going to come back to the booth while we get this sorted out, and I think you can see right here over my shoulder. We got some actual awesome casual Magic going on here in the VIP section. We've got, I think, a player working on his legacy deck earlier here too. I think is what he's talking about. Some people getting some refreshments. I'm a little jealous. They're getting some nice food and some drinks over here.
Looks like we've got the judge call sorted and we are back live.
I think it was like, where did the mind break trap go? Maybe I'm not sure.
Interesting. So he is getting himself archive trapped.
Okay. So he can cast the archive trap. That's what it was. Okay, sure.
Playing this deck.
Whoops.
The JP decided to fetch because he wanted to get the Surveil land.
Yeah.
I think it's timing of when it was happening, before, after Surveil.
Oh, and then I still have to resolve this.
Okay.
Interesting. So now the Surveil, I guess, is going to happen. So they could have timed it after the Surveil. Chris stopped him before the Surveil to figure out if he could cast it. And
sure.
I think that's where we ended up.
See another mind break trap in JP's hand. That's probably going to come up at some point in time in this game.
Yeah, Chris with no fetch lands to start, though. He's
All right, here we go.
loftily avoiding it.
This one's Hedron Crab, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Hedron Crab going to get started. That's a land that's going to mill 3 cards and let it begin. And there's going to be a lightning bolt here in response. A huge check early here. The very first question asked from JP, and Chris is ready for the answer because you had just mentioned how important it was and how hard it is to win without those crabs going off.
He did get the 3 off of it, obviously, because you get priority after your spell does resolve. He was able to play a land. At that point, the bolt happened. You really want Ruin Crab because it can block Ragavan. So
Is that kind of why JP waited till turn 2 to play the crab to make sure he gets a trigger?
probably so. See, we've got Hedron Crab this time. I think the first one was a Ruin Crab.
Yeah, this one is off the Ragavan trigger, I believe.
Yep.
So is Chris gonna play this? Oh, he's giggling. I think he's thinking about doing it.
It may not be the right play, but it's the fun play.
Oh, so then it's the rightest play. Here we go.
Definitely playing it.
And I gotta ask yourself a question. If you're JP here, and look, there we go. We got trigger. Oh, it's gonna trigger twice too. Here we go. We got one fetch land and trigger the Hedron crab. When this happens and you're sitting in the seat as a Dimir player, someone steals your crab and then mills you. Do you start to realize and think to yourself, "Am I the bad guy?"
My deck sucks all the
No,
time.
you know that this is the way it should always be.
Was I correct?
Everyone should be beaten.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
The whole thing should
Like
be.
the Thanos voice,
My
just
opponent's
perfectly
listening to
balanced.
my
20
mill
cards for his
cards.
visions as well. This is all upside. There's no downside.
There's so many good Thanos quotes here. You know, like the crab can be like, "Where did that bring you? Back to me." You know, like all these things. Just
All right, so now we're gonna get a fetch. We're gonna get a trap. JP should trap before the land's in play to reduce the mana that
Sure.
Chris has to cast a counterspell.
I think this is all.
care.
I want to see Chris mill out JP so bad. Like if he plays that other crab, he can Archmage Charm it and start going ham. Yeah. Oh man, I want to see this happen so bad now.
All right, so here's the 3. We got the one of surgical, the main deck surgical, and JP.
That's the card that always gets me, by the way, in this format. I can't tell you how many times I've been playing Tron. They've milled me, hit one of my Tron lands, surgical it. I'm like, okay, we can go to game 2.
We're in trouble. That's because your Tron players play 17 lands. In a deck that has to hit at least
What do you mean, you Tron
you
players?
Tron players and your 17 lands. I'm talking to the gentleman sitting behind me. He knows. He knows.
It's me. I'm also a Tron player.
Ragavan coming in. We are gonna drown him in a lock.
Yeah,
I have the damage is done.
Well, here's the funny thing. You draw to the lock. Sometimes you check in matchups. You're like, do you have? You always have enough in this matchup.
enough in this
There's always enough. Yeah. It's
Another premium 1-drop here. Dragon Rage Chandler right next to premium 1-drop Hedron Crab. They belong together.
They really, really do. I have a love-hate relationship with Ragavan and Dragon Rage Chandler as one drops because they're great. You know me. I love a good 1-drop in a tempo deck, but look what they did to my boy. You can't even
So
play.
much better than Delver. Like
They're so much
Switch
better. Yeah, they're so much better than Delver Seeker.
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on. I can't believe I just said that out loud, by the way.
Yeah. You remember when like Dark Confidant was a real modern card?
It might be. Oh God, Termaglyph. Have you seen? It's like $7 now. You can buy them for less than $10.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
Dark Confidant might be my favorite flavor text of all time too.
Forgive us, chat. We're being old. Give us a minute.
Well, I mean, hey man, we're going. Look, we're getting a blast from the past here with Dimir Mill and some of these other decks we got in today. We might as well go back.
You know, the life total on Chris's side is less effective than a card count
Yep.
total.
His life total is what's in his hand right now. He's literally holding his life total in his hand.
That's it.
I don't think JP can kill him with damage. I don't actually think his deck can do damage.
So oftentimes these decks are built with like one of the creatures that gets really big as a way to do it. His is not. His only way to win in game.
He knows who he is,
Milling people.
and he is fully turned into it. Yeah, he is turned into the skid.
In game 2, he also has no other way to win
There's nothing in sideboard either.
That's all
Nice.
we're doing.
All right, he knows who he
He's
is.
committed to the bit.
Yeah. All right, another Mind Break trap
Archive.
for Chris. Sorry, Archive.
Yeah.
Mind Break's the counter spell. I apologize. Archive trap.
The counterspell that doesn't counter. So
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right.
My card.
my favorite counter for a long time was Last Word because it was uncounterable.
Yep.
And then Mind Break.
Love that art, too.
Yeah, beautiful art.
All I'm saying is that's going to be a nice Murktide that that JP helped out here.
That's gonna
How
be
you
a
gonna
big
stack
one.
it?
We'll stack it so I'll surveil.
Okay,
and
so we're gonna have a couple of triggers at the stack here. We're gonna surveil land, trigger from Hedron Crab. So yeah, mill him first just to get all the extra information here. 2 Hitsugos, Laughter is going to go away here.
Yeah, Tasha's hideous
Sorry,
after, right?
cautious. Yeah,
Yeah, I understand. You've never seen these cards. This is my wheelhouse.
Sure.
To make the calls for what the cards are.
There you go.
On the mill player for sure.
got my back. That's why you're here.
JP really needs a third land. This Dimir deck lives on 3 lands.
Yeah.
More than that, but without 3, it's got real trouble closing out a game. Without Hideous Laughter, it's real hard to get enough cards in the graveyard.
He's been putting up a decent fight with the 2, but like you said, the 3 is so important because maybe he can double spell or start casting some of these 3 drops that really hit just tons and tons of cards.
Well, and if he's holding another crab, he's not going to play it until he can trigger it.
Right, that's a very good point. Do you think Chris has Delirium for his DRC?
We bet that DRC is fully turned on. But we bet that it has it. I don't even think they checked. They just assumed.
Yeah. I'll just
30
take the
cards in the graveyard.
I'll take the 3. It's 3. I wonder if JP's gonna find one of my favorite cards. He's got one of my favorite all-time cards here, Visions of Beyond. Just it's Ancestral Recall.
It is.
For all intents and purposes in this match, and
JP was
Absolutely love that
another
one.
glimpse And
We're getting low.
double archive trap, double glints. That's 46 cards.
Yeah, we're getting really low on Chris here, and he's I was gonna say he's gonna take a look. We're at the point where counting the deck is easier than counting the cards in the graveyard in play. Because this is a lot of cards. Because this is the graveyard of Chris's that he's going through here.
Glimpse the Unthinkable sparked something in me back when Ravnica first.
They just unlocked it.
That's where it came from. That art, that card. It was just. It's where it was.
It's the real duality of man here. When you see a card like that, it either unlocks something in you, or you shiver. You're like, ugh.
This
Like,
is the worst thing ever printed.
Yeah. I'm probably making Twitch chat really divisive right now.
Oh, absolutely.
In Twitch chat, give me a number 1 in the Twitch chat right now if you were Glimpsing Unthinkable Stan. Give me number 2 if you don't like mill decks.
Ones in chat.
There's probably a lot of ones in chat. Let's be real.
We're gonna extirpate.
We got a couple ones in the room in here too. It looks like.
Looks like 11 cards left in library for Chris.
And then you can cut that because then I'll cut it after.
Not enough.
I mean, JP's at 12. The problem is that Chris never found a Murktide. Like 3 damage at a time is fine, but it's just not enough. And this is a mill deck that was stuck on 2 lands. Like he's done all of this with 2 lands, 2 archive traps, 2 glimpses.
Yeah, and if JP's passing here, I see 4 mana up for Chris. I think you almost just have to play the subtlety here just to really
Just to
increase the
gap.
clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you just,
Subtlety lets you draw a bolt and turn it into a 2-turn clock.
yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Almost went past it. There you go, Chris. Yeah, you could draw some bolts, or if there's no interaction from JP here.
I assume JP is reminding him he could probably mill himself this if he wanted to.
Yeah, hey, if you want to, you're allowed. It does say target player.
Yes.
JP down to 6. There's 6 power in play, so JP gets 1 more draw set most likely, but we got to see.
Is it 6? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You got to go ahead and count.
5, 6, 7, 8,
How many
9,
cards do you have
10,
left,
11.
Chris? Can I get all of these?
Get him to 1.
He's moving pretty quickly here. I think there's a glimpse. Yep, there's a glimpse. And that's going to be enough. Look at the reaction.
Enough cards.
Yeah, look at the reaction from JP here. Wow.
24
Oh,
cards.
and that's one for the good guys, Chad. For the good guys.
Debatable.
All fetch land in order to draw, like,
So if we look at the sideboard, the mill deck has Flusterstorms, which seem great. Crypt Incursions. He has a set of Thoughtseizes, which probably come in here, and then more Graveyard Hate in Extirpate, Soul Guide Land.
Do you like the Crypt Incursions in this matchup?
I think I go back and forth.
You go back
on
and forth,
it.
I mean,
I think I like the Ensnaring Bridge because I doubt they have an answer post board because they're not thinking about it.
Yeah, they
I think
might
I
not
can
bring in a
steal game
parade.
with Ensnaring Bridge.
Yeah, but if you get an Xander Bridge in, here's the thing. Even if they have an answer, if they don't have it for like 3 or 4 turns, it's generally enough, of buying you enough time to get it done. Yeah.
So no surprise, Izzet Murktide is splashing green for Pick Your Poison. The card of the weekend seems like out of people's sideboards.
I gotta believe these Blood Moons are probably coming in too, because Blood Moon seems like it can really shut off a lot of what JP's doing. There's so many non-basics in JP's deck.
Flusterstorm is basically just a counter against a deck that
Sure.
almost never has more than 3 lands in play as well. I think that post board Chris is favored. Just because his sideboard is better set up for this, and he gets to cut all of the unholy heats and stuff that he had in match 1. He didn't draw any, but they were there.
And we see an interesting play line here from Chris. It's debatable which one's better here. Chris has the turn 1 Ragavan in his hand and is not playing it to leave up Stern Scolding here to maybe catch one of those crabs. I think that might be correct in this matchup.
Yeah.
Also, the turn 1 Scalding Tarn is going to allow him to unlock that Pick Your Poison as well, which is going to be big in this matchup. He's going to be able to go find probably something like Breeding Pool. I would assume he has Breeding Pool, but he might have, a green-red land. We'll see.
Yeah, he has Breeding Pool. That's the one. This Thoughtseize is interesting. So Chris has Ledger Shredder and Ragavan.
I don't want to get archived.
JP decides to take the Ragavan instead of any of the more powerful and slower cards.
It'll be your good.
Yeah,
How do you feel
Ragavan,
about that?
I like it. Ragavan is a really nasty threat. It's the fact that he can play Ragavan and hold up Stern Scolding next turn. Plus, the mana advantage is pretty big. If Chris ever gets to start double or triple spelling in a turn, that's going to really do really well in getting him ahead in this game. But I think we see a trap in JP's hand already here too. So we're gonna get a lot of cards here on turn 1.
Yeah, I think they were talking through the timing of the trap just now. And I see that JP has a Surgical. He has full knowledge of what's in Chris's hand, so you can use Surgical as another discard spell if you hit, Ledger Shredder or Stern Scolding or whatever on this.
You have activated my trap card.
So you just pick up your deck, pull it out, and shuffle.
Look at JP's face. This is a man who knows how to play Mill. This is a man who's enjoying himself.
Why wouldn't
10
you enjoy
cards at a
yourself?
time.
This is the-
13
this is the
cards
way
at a
to
time.
be.
Police surveil it.
It's been fun to see all the different and diverse decks in Modern.
I may have mentioned it earlier, man. You Texas Magic players, y'all are not shy. Your deck choices, I love it. You know who you are, and you play into it.
Man, you play what you're good at.
Maybe that was my problem all along.
I'll be interested to see if JP goes for a surgical here on a card he knows is in Chris's hand, just as an additional discard spell, basically.
10. That's 10 right there. So
Yep, make sure we use.
Chris trying to do a couple less. Might just need one less.
Yeah. Don't shortchange me.
He was one card away from winning last game.
Yeah, I know, right? One card left over. Yeah, you see JP going ahead picking up Consultant for that play, exactly what you're saying here. If he picks up anything that he knew was in Chris's hand.
So now he gets to take the expressive iteration out of hand, as well as the rest of them. Really just a clinic in how to play the surgicals in this deck with the knowledge that you have from Thoughtseize. And now Chris is just sitting on Ledger Strutter, Scolding, and a Pick Your Poison.
And with how many cards we've already gotten away out of Chris's deck,
just very little pressure.
yeah, JP's gonna feel him good, yeah.
This Ledger Shredder is a threat, but it's a slow one. He's got a Crab and a Fetch Land, and he has one of the 3 mana. The triple
Fractured Sanity.
Fractured Sanity.
Well, so that's the alternate art one, yeah.
You can also cycle that one and make a mill 4. So if you're stuck on lands or whatever, I thought that card's printing was really good. They've just printed a critical mass of enough inexpensive mill cards that this deck is borderline real. I don't think it's actually real, but it's borderline real.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember the original iterations of it. You didn't have Fractured Sanity. You had was it Flaying Sanity for a little while? It was like an enchantment that people played. I remember Tom Ross playing that. There's Miracle Orb. He had some stuff. Now you just got a bunch of cards that you have the exact things you need to do. Just mill. No cute, no nothing. We're milling you. Yeah.
They started printing them like burn spells.
Mm-hmm. That's actually really good. Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Just
burn spells for your deck.
The numbers on mill have to be 2 to 3 times higher.
It's the opposite of Infect. It's like we have to go higher, you know?
Yeah, instead of much lower.
Instead of 1s, you're getting 13s.
Yeah, I was watching the Infect match while y'all were commentating it, and it's the force multiplication of pump spells in Infect. Ledger Shredder getting in here. JP has taken a decent amount of damage from his own lands and his Thoughtseize, and he's
his surgical,
12 after this fetch land.
Do we have any diffusing on
Go ahead and fetch here. Get another activation of the Crab.
Yeah, Chris not having an instant answer to the Crab is a big deal. This is, 6 mil off the Crab already. We're probably going to get at least 3 more. We got 13 off the Archive Trap.
Yeah,
it adds up it's something cards out of 53.
And I mean, a lot of Chris's cards replace themselves too. Look at Mishra's Bauble, Preordains, things like that. Consider Ledger Shredder activations. Like he does a decent job of getting through cards as well. Chris on average is going to go through more cards a game than the average player in Modern.
There is an argument if you are sideboarding against Mill
about just leaving all of them in.
So you sideboard in every card that's useful and leave everything else in.
So sideboard up to like 70.
Yeah, 65 or 70.
I've done it.
I mean,
I'm not above
Chris
it.
had 61 cards in game 1, he wins.
Really good point. And we've seen a lot of talks lately about 64 card decks, 66 card decks.
I was a 26-62 truther back in the early days of life before I knew better.
Yeah, I had a really good friend, Brendan Candio, used to tell me about like how 61 and 62 can be correct in a lot of spots, and he showed me the math on it, and I would just go cross-eyed. Like I can't even understand this.
It was a Fireman Angel Control with Zer's Weirding, 26-62.
I remember this deck actually, believe it or not. Big fan of Fireman Angel.
Yeah.
Look that one up, everybody at home. Yeah. There's not a lot of people who know that one off the top of their head.
Zer's Weirding has been popular enough.
Sure.
People get that one.
I think that one gets played in Commander probably too, yeah.
JP on 2 cards, Chris on 2 or 3, both of which are known. Oh, he's got 4, but 2 of them are known to JP. We are going to get a Field of Ruin.
This puts a land into play as well, so we get another activation of Crab. That's just good deck building.
Turns on Archive Trap against decks that aren't going to fetch or know better.
Yeah, and then you still get some mana back for it too. Like, yeah, just really good deck building here. Field of Ruin, one of the best utility lands in all of Modern.
Yeah, the Azorius Martyr deck that we watched last round used Field of Ruin Demolition to good effect. That Martyr deck looks fun.
It's fun. You have to play it at a very fast pace.
Yeah.
You
That match
can't-
took a long time.
You cannot stop to really think. You need to go.
Yeah. I feel like the deck is missing like a close it out threat, but that's probably why it's so good.
Yeah.
Everything does what it's supposed to do, and then you just close it with your plane cycling Eagles later.
Eagles of the North or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
JP on the opposite problem this time. He's drawn too many lands, but at least he has a crab to turn some of that into mill. He's gonna go for one of the laughters, I believe.
I think maybe the
Fractured Sanity?
Yeah, the fractured
Yeah.
sanity here.
Mill 14, please.
Numbers are so random. I love it. Oh, is this a spell pierce? That is huge for Chris here.
Big deal. Yeah,
Does he have
knew
another
about
spell?
Scalding, but the spell pierce was a big deal.
Yeah, Chris needed another spell there too to really start getting this Ledger Shredder to be bigger.
Yeah, JP has played around playing 2 spells. Chris has not been able to play 2 spells while leaving up counter magic, so the Ledger Shredder has just stayed a 1 power threat.
Attacking for 1 is not enough.
It's not where you want to be. JP's dealt more to himself with fetches.
Oh,
shots,
yeah.
and search.
I think JP's done like at least like 6 to himself here, maybe more. He's gonna put another land in play and another 3 cards off the crab here.
Yeah, I don't think Chris is in the danger zone yet. I think he's sub 30, but not sub 20. Sub 20 is when you're in trouble.
Like
Your
graveyard.
graveyard's thicker than your deck. That's you're like, all right, this is bad.
Now I'm starting to worry.
I remember trying to mill people with Traumatize and Haunting Echoes.
Oh my god, yeah, I remember that.
That was a not good deck that we tried to make.
I think everybody tried to make it good, and then we all collectively, because this was before the internet got real big on Magic, and we all tried it, and then we were all like, maybe this isn't good.
It was really cool to show up at events with decks that you came up with, and one of the decks you'd never heard of, never thought of. Like, I remember state championships, like there was so much out of the box thinking.
Oh yeah.
And now all that iterates really quickly on the internet.
I mean, do you? I don't know. Okay, and there we see JP taking the match for Dimir. Do you know about the rules for like early days of like the standard constructed decks and stuff? And I'm talking like mid '90s.
Yeah.
You had to have X amount of cards from like all the sets.
Yeah, from all the sets.
So you would show up with some wild stuff. Like if you look at the old list, you're like, what's up with this card and this card? Well, you had to have 4 Homelands cards in your deck.
Homelands tags.
Yeah, so like I
The
needed
only playable card in Homelands.
like it's like
so
on a
we played
willow
it.
or whatever, it's like the only like you're like I would just put some random card in my deck, so it does sound like we have a backup match ready, so they mercifully save you from the Homelands constructed meta that we were going to talk about here in just a second. It looks like we're going into game 2 with Landed Quick being up 1-0 with Jun Creativity over James and his Domain Rhinos deck. So
we just saw James last round, but we'll get Landon's Jun Creativity deck pulled up here. Trying to get some interesting ones on camera as much as possible today.
I'm actually a pretty big fan of the Creativity decks. I like these a lot. They do a lot of really cool things. They even got some card upgrades here. I don't know if we're going to see it here in Modern, but in Pioneer, Deduce is a new card that's come out that's kind of helped out the Creativity decks. It's just another card that gets you deeper in your deck while giving you like that piece of something that you can cast Creativity on. In Modern we have fetch lands, and you get to make the 1/1s off of Dwarven Mine.
Yeah, so we saw James's deck last round. This Creativity deck looks like the things you would expect. Archons, Wrenn and Sixes, Bitter Reunion, Fables. Fable, a card we have not really seen on camera today.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. It's one of the better red cards printed in the last 10 years. Probably. It's like that, Ragavan, Unholy Heat. I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah.
The last like 2 years.
They're all brand new.
2-3 years, yeah. But hey, red needed some love. It felt like the longest time if you were playing red in Modern, it was like Bolt was in your deck or you were playing Burton.
Yeah, Simic got all the love for like 5 years before that. So
All the Uro times, the Oko times, stuff like that. So
how did they think Oko was okay? You want to unban Oko?
no.
Okay. Sanity check.
Yeah.
You want to unban Oko?
No.
All right, so we had a Thoughtseize. We can see James's hand because he's been kind enough to leave it face up for his opponent. Looks like we have a Endurance, Force Negation, Unknown card, and a Stomping Ground.
Also, another thing I'm a pretty big fan of. I don't mind making you write it down and remember it or whatever, but like here's the thing.
Save time.
Save some time, yeah. Let's go.
Alright, man.
Yeah, especially if you're playing a deck that can take a long time, or like James just played against
Yeah.
the.
So I think this was was this a Renin 6? Yeah, it was a Renin 6 with the glare there, but that's going to meet the Force Negation of the Ardent Plea coming out of the hand. James down to a land and endurance left over in his hand. Landon still has quite a bit of cards left over, so we'll see.
You really don't want to have to get rid of the Ardent Plea to get rid of the Renin 6. I don't know that I would have made that play.
So, I mean, you can play a long game against this deck, right? Like, you can actually play a fair game, play some stuff. The problem is if you let them fetch 2 or 3 more times, they're going to start getting to the point where they start dwarven mining you.
Right.
And, like, let's say Landon doesn't have a land behind this or another fetch behind this, you might be able to actually kind of corner them just a little bit. I think you're just trying to keep them off of Dwarven Mine as long as possible in this matchup.
Makes sense.
Because this is, like we said, this is game 2, and I don't know how many answers James has in his deck to literal 1/1 tokens.
I'm much more used to the blue version.
Sure.
That had the crab as, you know, the best way to make a token.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right.
Hard evidence.
Hard evidence.
Yeah. And here we go. Nice top deck from James here, too. Teferi 3 up the top. Real big one. Speaking of Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
There we go.
It's everyone's favorite red enchantment.
I remember reading that card and having to read it like 3 more times.
This is a card I think collectively as Magic players we all just missed. You know, on the 1 out of 100 of us like this card's broken. Everybody's like, yeah, this card's cute, it's fine, and then you play with it, you're like, this card does everything.
Yeah, it does too much.
Yes. And that's the thing, it just does too much for one card. You know, it's like it's already made something, right? Which got bounced, whatever. Now it's going to filter some cards, and then next turn it's going to make a threat that you have to answer. Or they're gonna, like, if they get an Archon in play with an active Kiki Jiki, you're dead.
Yeah. Instantly.
Have you ever copied an Archon before? It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's great fun.
It's like your fun. Only one person.
Only one person gets the fun. Archon's one of my favorite cube cards. I still play a lot of cube.
Huge. Well, yeah, I mean, who doesn't? It's the best way to play Magic.
You have never played cube. Play cube.
Cube is awesome. Big fan. So, all right, we're gonna have the endurance in response.
Hard cast the endurance here. We have subtlety and
Is that deputy and acquittal or something? I'm really racking my brain here for this
Yeah,
one.
this is Sphinx. Wait, Sphinx.
warrant and warden.
Warden. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So put target attacking creature or make a 4/4.
Better than Fire and Ice.
Interesting.
It's an interesting one.
Well, I mean, it's an early interaction spell that they can play in their deck that doesn't get hit when they're cascading. Because
that's the key part of designing these decks is finding spells that you can play with, you know, that's
you got to think out of the box.
Bone Crusher and Brazen Bar were so popular in
You
those
have to
roles.
think way out of the box when you're playing the Rhinos deck because you can't play traditional 2 and 3 drops. Yeah.
It's interesting that like Bone Crusher has completely fallen out of favor, even though they could cast it. Because Bone Crusher just doesn't kill anything in the format anymore.
Yeah, it's just not good enough anymore. Yeah, most of the time.
You fetch shocked. You should only fetch, correct?
I was at 11.
Oh, okay. I missed the numbers then. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we've been missing the light totals.
Yeah, there are formats where Bone Crusher is great, and the format has just evolved to a point that Bone Crusher's not very good anymore.
Yeah, people are making like 4/4s on turn 3 and stuff, and yeah, it's not good enough. I mean, every now and then you see like one pop up here or there, but like, yeah, it doesn't line up as well as it used to for sure.
They also had to like make concessions to be able to play the domain, to play the guild pack, to play the Scion. James, after slogging through Martyr last round.
Yeah, poor guy.
Hey, on camera back to back, can't complain about that.
Yeah, not too bad. Getting a lot of airtime, you know, some TV time here for him.
I did get smashed on camera back to back in an SCG once, and that wasn't great. I was like, I'd rather not have had people watch this.
I'll tell you this, man. I've got a few of them that I could not go back and watch. I've got some pretty bad mistakes on camera. I've got some games where I just get absolutely crushed, and then I've got the other end too. I've got some really good ones as well. So I love that stuff. It makes you feel alive. I love the nervous energy you get getting on camera. You know, you get a little bit of like that. Your leg shakes a little bit. You get that good nervous energy.
All right, so here we have an Archon.
There is a bitter reunion in play. I don't know if we have the mana left over. Do we have a treasure left over?
I don't see any treasure.
So we can't give it haste.
Yeah, can't give it haste, but
it looks like the fairy's going to bite the dust here.
The Archon has cleared almost everything out of James's hand, and
yeah, as we say, James
will be on to
Yeah, I was gonna
End
say,
of this match, Landon took game 1. James's deck really just did not play along here in game 2, and
Yeah.
Landon just did creativity things.
yeah, it's one of those things where you wonder about the force negation earlier that you talked about. Like, was that too aggressive? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. You know, depends on like what you draw. So it looks like we are going to go ahead and copy the
Okay.
Archon here. Is that
Yep.
is that a force of vigor? I think is in the hand.
Yeah,
So so we get a trigger for it entering into play, and then we're gonna get triggers for the attacking here.
we're gonna have no cards in hand, and we're going to be done with this match.
Look, James gonna go ahead and kill one of these.
You have to, I
Yeah.
technically have to discard, right, before you draw, if I remember.
I'll just say the triggers are still gonna go on the stack though. Yeah, the triggers are still going on the stack, so I think James is still dead,
I
right?
lose.
I think so.
Oh, I'm still down.
It's on top,
Yeah, you draw amazing, and I just draw.
and then
Yeah, there you
there's the handshake. So James's deck not really cooperating with him here, but I think one of the big things to take away from this match is Rhinos still very playable, still very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Rhinos has continued to put up fine numbers. The blue version seems fine. I think
Yeah,
they've
Ardent
been
plays
playing
just fine.
More Teferi anyway.
Mhm.
I think Shardless is an upgrade as Cascade Cell just because it is a guy. So like
Mhm.
even if they deal with the Rhinos, you have
Yeah.
another guy.
Yeah, and Ardent Plea does a really good job of, you could do this with Teferi. You could even do it at instant speed if you want. So you can kind of do that trick and stuff. Yeah,
The Teferi can pick up the Shardless agent.
it's really good.
It's another combo that exists.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see how these decks are going to do the rest of the day. But it sounds like that's going to be it for this round. We're going to take a short break and be right back.
Thank you very much.